The Montreal Canadiens announced a key hiring on Tuesday. Who, what, when, where? Who will she be working with? What does she bring to the table? And what she likes most about Marty St. Louis, the coach. We'll discuss player development with assistant coach in the KHL with Torpedo, Mitch Jaguar, who knows a thing or two about player development, coming up on the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro. The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
And now a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Sports entertainment like no other. Brought to you by 8.6 Beer, intense by nature. And La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you went back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, and yes, brought to you by 8.6 Beer. Look at this baby. Look at her. Huh? This one here, the red can, is 7.9%. I love this baby. I really do, because it's intense. Like Marinaro. By nature, like Marinaro. The beer, for those who follow their instincts, like Marinaro, and live their passions, like Marinaro, in order to make their mark. And that's why I love this beer. And La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the Cup, well, you need to start going out a little bit more. But it's time you go back to La Cage, because the menu will surprise you. And I can't wait to go back and have myself a half rack of ribs. And that all-dressed baked potato. And those all-dressed nachos. Let me stop now, because I'm not going to end up following through in the podcast, and I'm getting hungry. All right, okay. We're talking player development. And Tuesday was a big day for the Montreal Canadiens, because they announced that they hired the best women's hockey player in the world, the best women's hockey player ever, Marie-Philippe Poulin. And joining me to talk player development is Mitch Jaguar, who's an assistant coach for Torpedo in the KHL. He's joined us before on the Sick Podcast. Here he is. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. What about you?
Very, very good. Thank you very much. Wow. What a signing, right? This one really made a splash for many, many reasons. But let's bring it up. Take a look at this resume. 15 medals. 3 golds at the Olympics. Scored in every gold medal Olympic game she's ever played. Team Canada captain. Marie-Philippe Poulin is definitely a winner. Mitch, when you first heard this news, you thought what?
I didn't believe it, to be honest with you. I thought it was a joke, maybe. And no disrespect, but it was like, is that real? They're moving forward, already making big splash. And I just scrolled down on Twitter, and I was like, wow, they made a big move there, and they want to assure that first thing first, they're picking up, like you said, the best woman in the world as a hockey player by far. Not even sure somebody's going to be close to her. And obviously she knows the game. So I was happy. I was happy for the Habs. I was happy for her. And obviously I was happy for women's overall, because we always said, like, it's tough for them once in a while. They don't have the chance and whatever we're seeing. So I was really impressed by that move, and I'm really happy for both sides, I guess.
Yeah, when I first saw the news, I said, hold on a second here. She's not done playing yet. And then you read a little bit further and you see that it's as a consultant. And of course, as you know, a consultant doesn't have to be working full time. They can work part time, but what I love about it is being very aggressive and being very proactive to say, we've identified someone that we really want to be part of our organization. And even though she's still playing you know, we'll take her advice and her help on a part-time basis. And here's hoping that when her career is over, she goes full-time with us. And by then she'll have settled in. And this is big on so many levels, I find.
Yes, you're there, right? Like, I mean, if the Habs doesn't sign her this year, she probably received 20, 25 offers next year, and probably more money, probably more things. So now it's going to be a matter of what she really want to do. So they try to lock her right away, no matter how many hours she's going to be able to put weekly, monthly, yearly. They just want to be sure that we have her, because like you said, they wanted her. They did everything to take her on their side with the team, and we got to work around if she can only work 2 hours a week because she still want to play. Let's deal with that. But at least we're going to have her for 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 years, who knows. But at least we have signed her right now to stay with us.
Yeah. Let's hear from Jeff Molson when asked, what does Marie-Philippe Poulin bring to the table?
The most important thing for Kent and Jeff, who really are the two people that are going to be working most closely with Marie-Philippe, is her quality as a hockey person. She's a winner. She knows how to win. And our players are young, and they need to learn that as well. And I think that's probably the biggest priority. But at the same time, we tick many boxes with Marie-Philippe. We not only get somebody who is very competent in hockey development, player development, also is passionate about analytics, and also is a woman. And I think having all three in our organization is a big win for us.
It's clear that the Montreal Canadiens are going to pay a lot more attention to analytics and really try to find some stats or look at some data that maybe others are not, right? But they've really put an onus on analytics, especially in the last month or so.
Yeah, they made big splash, and it was crazy to think, if we go back only a couple months ago, that the Montreal Canadiens didn't have anything about stats, people, and that was crazy. Adding her, it's going to be, obviously she will not work with stats, and she's not I don't know how to say it, but a geek girl, like working on stats.
Coach, if I can, I'm sure the Canadiens paid one of these companies in the past to provide them with certain data, right? I'm sure they did not stay away from the analytics completely, right? I'm sure they were.
Or probably have Hockey IQ or something like that Sportsnet is using. It's impossible they didn't have a single data. But now adding people, creating a group of people that will work with the coaches and scouts and videos and everything, that a big splash. And again, I think adding her, it's more, I think, the culture or what she can bring as a hockey player, because she won everywhere. And I see it the same way as, you know, in the playoff, you always look at, okay, that team doesn't win because the Stanley Cup, because they don't have anyone who has won a Stanley Cup before. So they do trades with players with baggage, experience, and everything. So I can see it the same way as she won everywhere. She was the captain. I remember
if I can, it was like when the Montreal, pardon me, it was like when the Montreal Canadiens went out and they acquired Joel Edmondson and they acquired Corey Perry and they went out and they acquired Eric Stahl. I mean, they wanted, and they acquired Jake Allen. They wanted to acquire Stanley Cup champions so they can bring them into their locker room so that when they got to the playoffs, you know, they would have been there already. They went through it. They won cups, and they would have been able to show some of the younger players or the other players the way. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing with her. And I remember she said in an interview, the first time she was named captain for the Olympic Games, she said, I was good, but I should have asked more questions because I didn't feel great. I didn't feel okay with everything, what was going on. So she's been there, done that. She knows what to work with, what not to do. She had so much experience that she's going to be able to share with the youngsters, the prospect, even if it's just a woman. Now we're not talking, oh, it's a woman, or no, it's a hockey player. It's hockey. No matter if you're a woman, you're playing on a woman's side or men's side, the experience at winning gold, it's priceless, no matter where you're playing. So that will bring that big part, obviously.
Coach, with your work with Torpedo and the KHL, how much did you and your team rely on analytics or not? And what kind of analytics would you be able to divulge what some of those analytics were exactly? What were you looking at?
Well, we had plenty of analytic that we could use, to be honest with you, because we had 4 or 5 different websites who was doing all the tracking on the ice and all that stuff. But to be honest with you, our head coach was not a big, and I will not say he's not against stats, but we were only using the one that we thought could be really helpful in the short term. The only reason is because in the KHL, you mid-team, lowest team, you have a new team basically every year because good players are leaving for more money. So you don't really can build for, let's say, the next 3 or 4 years. So that was the biggest difference. But again,
can you tell me which stat that was that you were paying attention to?
For us, face-off, but not the overall face-off. I mean, if it's a face-off neutral zone mid-game, for us, doesn't matter. It was more like 5 power play PK, end of the game. You know, those things. Rushes, just control it. Rushes, dump in, dump out. Same thing on the breakout. More stats that we will be able to work with our players by developing them. Let's say breakout, if it was a chip, if it was a tape to tape, or if it was a giveaway turnover, we could rely on that to work with the player the next practice to say, look, you only had like 30% of success on passes. So we could go through the video with them and start working. Okay, here what happened, here what happened. So we could work. Shots, obviously, and we since I was there, we put the Royal Road. It's a stats that the quality of the shot from green, yellow, and red shot. And this is it, because everything else, could we have done more? Yes. But at the end of the day, the players over there doesn't really watch the stats anyway. And it's easy to get lost. It is, and stats, you can say whatever you want on a good side,
of course, yes,
and negative side. So it's always tricky. But when you have people this is their job and they're working with the coaches, that makes our life way, way easier.
You spoke about face-offs before. One of the things that I would probably like to see, or I think would be cool, is knowing what players' records are on draws against other players. So I'm Nick Suzuki, and I go up against, Connor McDavid. Over the course of my career, the amount of times I played him, or I go up against Austin Matthews because they play each other more often in the division, for example, right?
Yeah.
So how does Nick Suzuki do against Austin Matthews on faceoffs? How does he do versus, Kerfoot on faceoffs? How does he do versus Jason Spetz on faceoffs? How does he do versus, some of these players on, and then, you're a coach and you have that information available to you. You'll know, what, against Austin Matthews, okay, I might have, a defensive zone faceoff or an offensive zone faceoff. But even though if I have an offensive zone faceoff and it probably makes sense to put Suzuki, maybe I should put Dvorak because Dvorak does a lot better on faceoffs versus Austin Matthews. But anyway, I'm getting away from stuff here. Marie-Philippe Poulin was asked which players in particular she'll be working with. Listen carefully.
How many different types of players you'll be working with? Will it just be prospects on the development side, or will you be working with the NHL players as well?
I think so far it's going to be with the prospect. I think becoming closer with them, getting to know them on the ice, off the ice, coming up with a plan how to make them better, how to get improved on the ice. I think that's going to be a challenge, but very exciting, and it's going to be exciting to be working with the new prospect.
All right. She'll be working with prospects, and they're going to map out, things to work on, things to improve on, and how to get them better. How much player development did you do in the KHL, or was that not for you with the pro team, or was it something that you were able to do after practice? How much experience do you have in it? And if you were working player development with the Montreal Canadiens, what are some of the things you'd work on with some of their players?
So let's take me. Last year we had a second round pick by Fedotov by the Coyotes, Arizona. So I reach out to them, say, hey, look, guys, I'm here now. Can we Can we work something around? Because obviously language barrier is huge, because the kid doesn't speak English and the team doesn't speak Russian. So I try to be the between guy. So I'll say the way we worked with him, it was the same thing with other players who got drafted. Weekly, I was calling Lee Stempniak, who's the person in charge, and we were going through the games. Obviously, what he's seen on his side, on my end. And the funniest thing was basically we saw the same thing at 99.9%. So that was easier for us. And he didn't really send me anything to, okay, you should do that drill or this drill. But because we really connect on what we saw both, I said, okay, I'm going to work on this week, create just a little plan overview of what I'm going to work around this week. And he said yes. And after the week, calling back, seeing how everything went. And that was the way we worked together. In practice, for us, we had the whole day. So if I want to jump on the ice 30 minutes before or prior to the practice, I was allowed to. If I wanted to stay 30 minutes after, I was allowed to. So obviously, sometimes before practice, I love working with the players. So I was hopping on the ice, and having a couple of players working on, could be skating, shooting, skills, body position, puck protection. Same thing at the end of the practice. And more often I was doing it, more players wanted to jump with me on the ice because they saw that, well, we're getting better and guys seems to have fun. So, and because I always try to make it fun, so it's not kind of a all skating and up and down and stop and start. So that's the way we were working. If I was working with the Habs, the biggest thing that I've noticed throughout the years is the communication, but not only with the players. Obviously, it has to be there, but with the coaches. I think that's the most important thing, and maybe not the head coach because he had a lot on his plate, but assistant coach or the skills coach, so everyone can work together. That's the biggest thing, and following them, watching them, and not only on video, but going there, creating your schedule so you can go tonight in Montreal and tomorrow in Ottawa and next week in Winnipeg or wherever it is. And maybe if you can go on the ice and watch practice, that's a big plus as well.
Yeah. If I was a coach, I would double shift my best players. And by the way, that's the sick merchandise that I'm wearing right now. You can go to sportbuffshop.com, use code 615 for 15% off on all of their items. You can actually shop all your sports licensed lifestyle apparel, including hoodies, caps, t-shirts of your favorite teams from all major leagues. And once again, our sick merchandise. All right. Okay. Back on April 5th, you put out a tweet. I'm sure you remember what it was, right?
Yeah. Hard to not remember.
Okay, so what you did was you put out a tweet and you said to everyone, look at this. This is what Marty St. Louis was going over one practice with Cole Caulfield, and this is what Cole Caulfield was able to do. Let's see if we can bring it up here for those who are watching on video.
Gallagher. Little feed from Hoffman. Sent across. Caulfield shoots. Score!
There you go. All right. Look at that. That's a goal that Cole Caulfield scored versus the Ottawa Senators. And prior to him scoring that goal, you saw the images at practice. He was showing Caulfield that when you get the puck, they're probably going to get in the shooting lane and they're going to try and block it. So what you're going to do is you're going to pump fake the slap shot. You're going to move around. You're going to go to the outside, and then you're going to shoot it from there. Pretty much that, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay. You see, I could be a coach if you're looking for one. I could be a coach. All right. Here's, all kidding aside, here's Marie-Philippe Poulin. When asked what she likes most about Martin St. Louis, the coach.
I had the chance to watch him as a player and obviously watch Martin as a hockey coach, and seeing from an outside perspective, the way he's been connecting with the players is something that right away caught my eyes. Just seeing little clips on the ice and seeing them having, like, one that really popped was the video with Cole Caulfield where he just showed him how to take that fake slap shot and move around and take that shot, and right away in the couple next game you see Cole and trying it. I think that's something right away says a lot, how much he connects with the players, and obviously really looking forward to share with them and connect with them and learning more about the games.
You, Mitch Giguère, are the one that brought that up in a tweet back on April 5th, and Marie-Philippe Poulin said, the one that most caught my attention from Marty St. Louis, the coach, was when he was showing Cole Caulfield how to fake that slap shot, go around the player, then take it. She was talking about the video you put up, my friend.
That's wild. I missed that part today. So, yeah, but like, this is a good thing about him and her. She already fall in love with the way he's working, and she knows that she can rely on him. And obviously, it's going to be vice versa. So both going to be able to rely on each other, and both went through the same story, kind of like they're winners everywhere they've been. They try to achieve, their work ethic is above the charts. So, but yeah, listening to her saying that she likes the video and the way they're working, it's cool for sure.
Get ready, because you're going to be a regular on the Sick Podcast going forward. You know that, eh?
I know. I'm waiting on it.
I love your work. You know that. Thanks for joining me. Tell your friends about it, okay? They can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. Mitch, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Marinaro, that's it for this podcast. I have to go get on my treadmill because this is what I do. I work and then I play. MatrixHomeFitness.ca. Bring it home the way I did and discover a club quality workout in the comfort of your own home. Visit MatrixHomeFitness.ca. I got myself a rower too. I love that machine. I love you. I love this podcast. I love 8.6 beer. I love La Cage. I love all of our sponsors. I love the Sick Podcast because it's sick. I'm Marinaro. Double shift your best players.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by 8.6, Intense by Nature, and La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the cup, it's time you went back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you.